So it's that time again, guys. It's time for another podcast. I'm Ryan.
I'm James.
I'm Scott.
And I'm Shaun.
So on the agenda today, we're going to start things off with our roundtable news segment, where we just kind of tell you a little bit what's going on with each of us, and that's basically it. So James, you want to start us off?
Right, so is anyone actually interested in the New Mutants? Does anyone know much about it?
Only that it's been in production for ages and delayed loads of times.
See, well, that's what I'm actually going to get into it, because the production story on this is nuts. Because the director is the same director that did The Fault in Our Stars, which came out ages ago. I think it was 2014, right? And he finished that movie. Straight off the back of it, he pitched the New Mutants, which was then agreed to. So this was back in around 2015, 2016. That's when it started casting. 2017 was when they actually shot the film. So this was Maisie Williams is one of the cast members of this, and this was during season 6 that she was also recording this Game of Thrones. So around about the time that she's in Bravos, being blind, is the same time she was filming this. And then it was finished. It's been finished for ages. They were originally going to release it in 2018, but they delayed it for Deadpool 2, which is just nuts when you think about it, because Deadpool 2 feels like it was so long ago. And then Deadpool they went...
What was a while ago. They've even brought out the edited version over the 12A version. Yeah,
I know, it's absolutely insane. That was over I think that's 2 years ago now. And then when Dark Phoenix was supposed to come out, that was supposed to be the New Mutant date, but they pushed it back again. And then it was supposed to come out in March of this year, but obviously coronavirus pushed it back. So it's now been set for a cinema release of August this year. So I'm just wondering what apocalypse is going to happen next to stop it coming out, because there's just no way it's coming out.
Well, if this, if coronavirus carries on, it won't be coming out this year, and it will get pushed to next year. So by the time we see it, Maisie Williams will be in her 40s. No, she is.
It's an unreal situation. I don't think I've ever heard of a movie being pushed back this often, but it's quite frustrating, because I don't know about you guys, but I kind of want to see it.
Yeah, after seeing the trailer, I kind of look like the look of this, so that they've gone more of a horror feel rather than flat out action.
Yeah, it's because the last few X-Men films have not been very good. So the idea of getting a new take on the X-Men franchise is something I'm really keen to see. But for some reason, I guess they just don't have a lot of confidence in it, because obviously they pushed it back for Dark Phoenix, which was a terrible film. So if they're pushing it back for a terrible film, I'm a little bit worried that it's really quite bad. But I don't see how it can be worse than that.
He doesn't see, but it probably will be.
It's just the concept behind it of this sort of younger take, this darker take on it, instead of the sort of more brightly coloured X-Men films we've had recently.
Yeah,
it sounds.
Whereas the films sort of concentrated more on the mutant aspect, all the flashy powers. This looks like it's more concentrating on actual story and the dark genre.
Exactly, yeah. It's definitely got a different feel to it, and maybe that's why they didn't have the confidence to put it out, because it is
a dark film and it's dark times. Yeah, that would make sense.
It's not. It's also just the case of it's not in the X-Men franchise. They're not Apocalypse and I don't know how well Dark Phoenix did, but I mean, all the ones before have made quite a bit of money. So I guess they're banking on the fact that it's a franchise people know, whereas New Mutants isn't branded in the same way, is it?
We'll have to wait and see where it goes, because at the moment we're kind of speculating on something that's been in production for a very long time. So it might just be one of those that we keep an eye on, and we see how it looks closer towards the final release date.
Well, hopefully it'll actually come out in August.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll do another podcast closer to August, telling you that it's all been delayed, and then we'll look at it again next year.
Well, at this point, surely they should just put it onto streaming. It's clearly not. It's clearly not destined for the cinema.
Well, why don't you put a pin in that, because we're going to come to that later.
All right.
How about you, Shaun? How about you, Scott? What have you got for us?
Which one?
Take your pick, boys.
Go on, Shaun.
Speak at the same time.
Okay. So, speaking about movies then. So the directing pair, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who made Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and then the Lego Movie, and then the 21 Jump Street and sequel, then got stuck with Solo, which didn't work out for them. They announced on Friday, I think, that they are going to direct the next movie novelization from Andy Weir, who made who wrote The Martian, which was the Matt Damon movie, which was really good.
I thoroughly enjoyed that film.
Yeah, so they're going to direct that with Ryan Gosling. So the book's not out yet, but it has directors and it has a star. So one to keep an eye on and one I'll be really looking forward to.
It'd be quite interesting to see because I'm really kind of gutted that we didn't get to see their vision for Solo because obviously it didn't turn out brilliantly.
Even though Solo, wasn't as well received as people were expecting it to be, I think hands down it's 1,000 times better than the last Star Wars film.
Okay, yes. Let's not start the controversy now. I mean, I totally agree with you.
We could take up the entire podcast for this one.
Okay. James, do they know about your episode at the episode the other day?
Yeah. Well, me and Sean watched it at the same time, so we both went into it expecting to enjoy it more than we had before. We both came out like, oh. Oh,
so you both came out and realised, actually, this is a pile of shit.
I rewatched the last Star Wars movie last week with my son, right? And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's still a good movie.
I came out of the cinema absolutely loving it.
My opinion.
Look, don't make fun of the Welshness. It's the only diversity we have in this podcast, all right?
That's what I bring to the table. It's a diversity.
the Welsh aspect.
So, yeah, when I came out of the cinema for, what's it even called?
Rise of the
Skywalker. Yeah, I loved it. I came out of it like, that was great. And my partner was like, you actually enjoy that? I was like,
Rise of the Skywalker was a better film than the previous two iterations.
No.
Yes.
No. Oh, God.
Easily.
We watched it again the other night, and I finished watching it. I was like, was I on crack when I went and watched it in the cinema?
It's a good film.
Okay, it's in no way a good film.
It is a good film.
You've got to listen to the minority, James. It was a good film for him.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think we could do an entire segment on this, but yeah, let's wrap this up, James.
I do think I am looking forward to giving them another shot because I do think that Solo was probably let down by the fact they left because they seem to have quite a good sort of a bit more of a fun vision for it, and it became a bit more serious. I think with was it Ron Howard who took over?
Ron Howard, yeah. That's like one of the rumors that they were doing too much improvisation, going too much off script, being
exactly.
too funny for.
Obviously, that doesn't fit with the whole Disney mantra of the Disney are in control and this is what we do. So it seems like that's why they got kicked off.
Well, you've seen the South Park where Mickey literally rules the world. So I mean, it just cascades into real life, doesn't it?
Well, exactly, and I think they probably did have quite a good vision for that. So it'd be quite good to give them another opportunity, really, because it does seem they got a little bit screwed over on that.
Yeah. It's one to look forward to, and we'll have to see where it all goes. What do you have for us, Scott?
I've got the recent trailer for the Unreal Engine 5. Did anybody else get a chance to see it?
What is the Unreal Engine, Scott? Tell us all about it.
Well, the Unreal Engine is the engine that Epic Games make. It's a video game engine, of course, and they're showing off all the new technology that hopefully Microsoft and Sony will be utilizing in the next gen.
So is this the trailer? I saw a trailer.
With the Lara Croft lookalike.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that one. She's walking through a cave.
Yeah, that's that one.
Yeah. I'm wondering how much money Sony actually threw at the Epic to put something looking like that in that trailer.
Well, you've got just to give a little bit of backstory on the Unreal Engine, just for people that have played the older games. It's the same engine that Gears of War and things like that were based on. So it's been in the video game industry for a very long time, and we've been using Unreal 4 for a very long time. So to see 5 in just what it can do and what it's capable of, it's kind of a game changer.
So what can it do?
Yes, it is.
I think the question is, what can't it do, James?
Okay, no, but the question is, what can it do?
They were mostly showing off new lighting features more than anything, and triangles. Lots of triangles were emphasized in the trailer.
It was so So that, yeah, like Scott's touching on there, they were trying to show the light and how it moves and cascades and how it's kind of like quite pretty and quite real. But yeah, like he was mentioning on the triangles, one of the huge things for game developers is like polygons and pixels and triangles and the shapes and geometry that make up characters and modeling and things. And basically the new engine kind of does away with all of that and does it in a completely different way. And that's why they were able to push so many triangles and effects
Was it
into
around
that.
8 billion?
Yeah, it was a
triangles?
huge amount of triangles. So that when you see,
Massive amount.
yeah, and when you see that they like changed the overlay, they overlay how many triangles are on the screen, and it just looks like a blue mess. It looks like Avatar.
Yeah.
So is this just
essentially what it's allowing developers to do is put in cinematic quality images, 8K textures, straight out to make the game look far crisper.
right?
Yeah,
So
just to heighten, just to bring that realism like to the next level. Because when you play like a game at 1080p or 4K, it's using like a 1080p texture pack or 4K texture pack to be able to push cinema quality like 8K and 12K assets and things into a game engine is incredible.
So it's just another step towards photorealism in games, is it?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that's the fairest way.
Obviously, I mean, this engine doesn't officially get released until 2021 next year. So when the new consoles release later this year, we're still not going to see all this quite implemented. And even then, it's going to take a year or two before developers actually get the most out of the new engine.
So we got a little ways to wait, but a hell of a teaser.
Yeah, I mean, tech demos you've always got to take with a pinch of salt, because with the tech demo itself, they always get the best of what they can. It's all pre-scripted. There's no AI having to be calculated at the time. But what we've seen with the Unreal Engine 4 was, before that was released and the PS4 was released, by the time the last generation was ending, they actually exceeded the tech demo in terms of quality by the end of the generation. So I'm excited to see what this can do.
Well, it's one to look forward to in 2021, just like the inevitable delay of New Mutants.
We're looking to the future.
Yeah, we're looking to the future of everything, boys. This is what we got to do. I mean, just to throw it in there, guys, we were, if we're looking into the future, I mean, we might even see John in a podcast way into the future.
We may get lucky.
We may get lucky. Okay, so then, the final one's from me. So it's not going to be anything too in depth like the rest of the team have discussed, but I stumbled across a new show. It's an Amazon exclusive. I think it aired the 1st of May. So it's called Upload, and the premise is effectively when you die, so it's set in the future, and when you die, you can, and if you have the money, there are these, you can be uploaded. So you're uploaded into these virtual worlds. So basically the more like money you've got in the bank, like when you die, or the more money your family's got, like the kind of the better of the place you can go. So it's about a guy that dies, gets uploaded, and it's kind of like him finding himself in this world and figuring out, the suspicious circumstances around how he died. And there's loads of really cool futuristic elements to it. Like, for example, there's this boy that's died when he was like 12, and his parents won't let his avatar age. So every time his parents talk to him, he's still a 12-year-old, even though he's about 20. So the way that he kind of keeps sane is he has all of the virtual NPC staff, like the hotel staff or whatever. He has them set into Street Fighter mode. So you see them doing Street Fighter moves on each other in the background and seas and things. And it's absolutely nuts. It's so crazy, like what they've conceptualized. It's definitely worth a watch.
So this is Amazon's version of Altered Carbon.
Yeah, it's kind of like a bit of Altered Carbon crossed with more of a lovey kind of story, because like the kind of, what do you call them? Like the tech support woman, who is like his guardian. He likes
Angel.
Yeah, his angel, as Sean's mentioned. Yeah, his angel kind of like, they get close and she can go and visit him in like VR, and it kind of brings a lot of the technologies we're on the cusp of quite right into the forefront of maybe what could be possible, and it's quite mind-bending, really.
Well, they say that the singularity is supposed to happen in the next 40-50 years, which is when we're supposed to be able to upload our minds to computers.
God, that's all we need is for Ryan to last longer.
Oh, he won't make it that long. He's already aged enough already.
Ha ha ha. Ha ha. The wit.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to our middle section, which is we're going to chat about The Mandalorian Season 2. I think it's been confirmed. It's definitely confirmed because they're already filming Season 3. Is it coming out later this year or is it next year? Does anyone know?
I'm sure I read somewhere it's coming out the end of this year.
It would make sense because it came out the end of last year in the US at least, so that'll make a year. That's usually the sort of schedule
they were months ahead of us.
Yes. So the season 2 be heading our way sometime soon. I'm pretty sure it's already been filmed. So we're just going to chat about what we want to see from season 2. So has anyone got anything they want to start with?
I'd like to see more of the actual Mandalorian lore thrown in, rather than just really focusing on his character. The Mandalorian lore is so rich. There's so much history there. It's a shame if they keep that under wraps.
Yeah, they've hinted, like, I don't know much about the expanded universe or any of that sort of stuff, and they've hinted at it a little bit, specifically with the armor and like how it's really valuable to them, but they don't really talk about why so much. So that would be really interesting to see, because obviously we go underground and we see a bit of their society, like how they work together, but it's all kind of trickled in.
Yeah, obviously what we've seen with season 1 as well, that the whole like enclave was uprooted. Now I'd like to see them settle elsewhere and perhaps expand a bit more now, get more numbers and start making bigger footholds sort of in the universe again.
Yeah, for sure.
So just to touch back on the release date, I've just done a tasty bit of on-the-spot research. It won't be delayed because of the coronavirus. It is on track for October this year.
Oh, that's awesome. So
the thing is, if they've already filmed everything, most of it can probably be done remotely, all the editing.
Yeah, and also, have you seen the making of like how they shot it?
No, I haven't.
So a lot of it is all inside. It's like in a weird sort of bubble situation, and it's like 360 screens. So all of the exterior shots are actually inside, and it's a background. It's like a filmed background that they then act around, which means it's a lot easier for them to do pick up shots and refilm anything with social distancing in place. So compared to other like film shoots where you might have to fly out to different countries, which obviously you can't do at the moment, you can do it all in a lot. Like, I don't know where they film it, but you can do it all in one place.
That's pretty cool. Where
it's really fascinating.
That from all of a sudden? Yeah, is that something new or?
Yeah, it's definitely a new way of filming, and I think it's because obviously they want to.
Maybe Disney knew that it was coming.
Maybe.
We've stumbled upon a conspiracy now. Perhaps it's Disney's fault.
Maybe it's Disney's fault to push the service as it goes live in the UK. Oh my god, guys! Look what we've done. We've uncovered Disney's conspiracies.
Never mind, they've just lost $1.2 billion in their theme parks.
That's pocket change, mate, for them.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it?
Drop in the water.
The filming, the way they film it is quite incredible, because it's basically like for the older Star Wars films, like the prequels, where they did all the green screen, and it basically everyone says obviously the films are quite wooden because they're acting with nothing there. So it's this whole idea of basically still doing green screen in that you're filming in a lot, you're filming without live set around you, but it's all massive, like I think it's LED. It's like a massive LED screen all around you, so the actors can then react to things going on. So yeah, they can do it all inside, all as if it was green screen, but it's not actually green screen.
Is anyone here, like, because, you know, a lot of people take the Mandalorian, the whole religion thing of it quite seriously. Oh, he can't remove his helmet because of the religion and blah, 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 blah. Does anyone think that should have been fleshed out a bit more?
I suppose that's in with Scott's point on the lore of it and the backstory of the Mandalorians themselves.
So more closer to what the source material?
Or just, there was a lot of time spent in this season just kind of doing little side quests.
It's an RPG.
Yeah, it had a good start, it had a good end, but the middle episodes of the season didn't seem to be going anywhere, and they were far, far slower than the rest of the episodes.
I totally agree, and but I've spoken to people who say the opposite, and they're like, they don't really like the beginning and the end, and they like the middle ones. There's a real split in the people that like the episodes. So my least favorite episode of the season is that one where they go to the planet where they have a ATST that's been like hijacked, and they have to like help this little tribal village defend against the ATST attack.
Yeah,
I actually really like that
That's where he
one.
meets Cara Dune.
I didn't mind
Yes, it
that
is.
episode actually.
I really dislike that one and a few others as well, because I don't feel like the story really progressed too much throughout that season. There's so much potential with what's going on in that story with the character of the Mandalorian and the whole Baby Yoda thing, but
I think with that episode they were trying to focus more on perhaps character development with the Mandalorian himself.
Okay, so fair enough, but do you feel that you know the Mandalorian character at all? Because I don't feel I do.
No, I mean they briefly touched on his history and how he became a Mandalorian, but perhaps if they expanded now next season, it'd be good if perhaps they showed his journey from that child that was rescued to the current day.
I really struggle to get a sense of him as a character, because in the first episode, like the first thing you see him do is he comes in and he's doing his bounty and he cuts someone in half with a door, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So it's an absolute like badass moment. But then there's that bit in the prison ship where these people all the people betray him and lock him up and are sending him away, and then he escapes. But instead of killing them, these people who have fucked him over, he just leaves them in a cell. Like, I don't get, is he like a merciless killer or not?
Maybe that's part of his non-character development, where you see him become more, what do you call it? Have more of a heart. I suppose there's a small element of him starting to care for the Baby Yoda character, where he's not as cutthroat as he is at the beginning towards the end of it.
Yeah, I think that probably makes quite a lot of sense, in that maybe the Baby Yoda is affecting him in that way. But like you say, it's really not played up at all. Like, he doesn't spend enough time being a ruthless killer in the beginning to then get softer and then us actually see it happen. So the thing I really want to see
really quickly.
It does happen really quickly, doesn't it?
But in episode 1, he gets the job to go and find Baby Yoda, and then episode 2, he's handed him over, and then he's on his way, and then he decides he's got to go back and rescue him again.
Yeah.
Well, actually, guys, yeah, I quite like him. I'm going to go back.
There is a very sudden shift. And
why wouldn't you go rescue Baby Yoda?
Well, because you're a merciless bounty hunter.
Yeah,
you spend your life killing people.
But it's Baby Yoda.
He doesn't know it's Baby Yoda, though.
Well, exactly, and that's kind of my point. Is that like
just look at Baby? You've only got to look at Baby Yoda. Look how cute he is.
I'm fairly certain he would have seen a baby in his merciless killing lifetime, and if it didn't fix him, like make him more lighthearted, then how is Baby Yoda going to do that? You know?
Well, I guess that's kind of my point. Is like in this season 2, I would really like to see more of that character developed. Like less of this. Like these kind of little side missions where nothing really happens. It's just sort of a little jaunt, and actually kind of progress the story forward.
Yeah, so hopefully it would be better, I think, if like there was just one overriding arc rather than just hopping from planet to planet, getting in a little bit of trouble, and then getting out of it by the end.
Oh, I've got one here actually. For Shaun, if you don't mind, James. So hopping from planet to planet, Shaun brings up an excellent point, and I think he knows what I'm going to say. So he hops from planet to planet, and I'm just going to shift a second to... I know Shaun has been watching Firefly, so they jump from planet to planet in Firefly, but there's a lot more story involved in that. What do you think of the comparison? Space Western, Space Jedi, you know, there's a lot of...
Yeah, I think I'd probably go with The Mandalorian.
You would go with The Mandalorian over Firefly?
Over Firefly, yeah.
Goodness me. Goodness gracious.
You've just personally insulted half the internet.
Half the internet, sorry.
I am fanning myself because I'm in utter disbelief. I'm trying not to faint here.
Pacing the room back and forth.
So
maybe you had to be there in the moment.
You had to be in Firefly.
On Serenity.
You had to be on Serenity. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. So I think he's broken the internet again, James. Yeah. This is the second
if we had any listeners for the podcast, I think we've just lost them all.
Oh, damn it, Shaun.
Damn it.
I think you do
There's still hordes of Firefly fans out there.
I think you do draw like quite a good comparison, though. There, to be fair, Ryan, is they do have some similarities, and I think the big difference for me at least, between Firefly and Mandalorian is like, yeah, the characters are much more fleshed out in in Firefly, you really get a sense of who they all are quite early on. Whereas I still don't, like I said, I still don't feel like we know who the Mandalorian is.
If you think of the comparative kind of like the overarching story arc of say Firefly, it doesn't have one immediately. You've got Mal literally just trying to do his day-to-day, smuggling, and then he stumbles on to River and Simon, and then the whole plot changes, and that's quite an engaging thing that keeps going throughout the entire season, despite them hopping from planet to planet, place to place, doing job to job. Whereas if you flip it to the Mandalorian, where he's the cold-blooded killer, he's doing a job again, but then has a change of heart, like with a snap of the fingers, and then it's just a bit like, if you look at it like that, just from that point of view, it's so muddy in comparison to something like Firefly.
I think the Mandalorian just seems to, as a character, he just seems to do whatever the plot needs him to do, which is kind of fine.
He's a story vehicle, isn't he?
Yeah, and that's kind of fine in a a Star Wars show where you're in it for the story that is Star Wars, like exploring the universe, but they're just not doing enough exploring. Like, you've got this really interesting thing of like they found Baby Yoda that's like a rare creature that's 50 years old. There's so much like interesting information about Baby Yoda, but he's just like, again, he's just sort of in the side, like kind of bumbling around drinking tea. Like, he's just not. I wanted at the end of that series for something to happen with that, and it's not. So I do think there's so much potential in the Mandalorian, because it's like Rogue One as well. It's really beautifully shot. Like, it looks incredible.
What I wonder is how much good faith is Disney gonna have with the Starfly Starfly.
The
Starfly with the Star Wars fan base, because I mean, they destroyed the last film with just everything. A lot of goodwill. I know people liked it, but a lot of people didn't as well. And then The Mandalorian, again, some people really like it, some people didn't. But those people that aren't liking it, how much is that having a waterfall effect now, that they can't keep relying on the vehicle of Star Wars to keep people coming back? Because one of the big things that you've touched on is you want to explore the universe, you want to know more about the universe, but you've already got like the animated series on the Clone Wars, which is actually really good and expands really well and does it in a great way compared to like spin-off lore and stuff like that. When you see these live action variations, and it doesn't kind of hold a candle to what people are expecting from source material.
So there is so much they can do with it. They've got so many opportunities to push it forward, and what I really just hope from season 2 is that they've built a foundation now, I suppose, and they really sort of run with it, and they're not really. I don't want them to be afraid to sort of maybe take some risks and like go with some interesting stories instead of playing it quite safe, which they've done.
I was thinking exactly the same, because I think with season 1 they've played it very safe.
They have. They've started very familiar.
If you're just a big part of the audience has pretty much only seen the main films in the series, like a lot of them may not have read the books, may not have played the games, so the whole Mandalorian culture to them is still new.
Yes.
So I think they didn't want to ram too much of it down people's throats to begin with, in case it didn't take.
Yeah, that's very interesting, because I'm assuming, have we all seen The Witcher?
Yes.
Because that's the exact opposite, isn't it? It's instead of not doing enough, they absolutely just throw everything at you and expect it all to stick, and a lot of it doesn't really stick because there's just so much information. But it
does. I think The Witcher, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think The Witcher does a lot more with that one season than The Mandalorian could maybe do in 3 if they carry on with this pace.
I would absolutely agree with you. I'm a much bigger fan of The Witcher than I am The Mandalorian, because I do think it's relentless.
I enjoy them both.
They do similar. When you think about it, they do similar things, because a lot of the earlier Witcher episodes, he's basically just he's on jaunts again, like killing monsters. So he's doing similar things, but it is developing his character more. But at the same time, you've got plot lines like the Yennefer plot line, which are going on behind it, but then build to a bigger finale. Whereas that just didn't happen with The Mandalorian. There wasn't anything. You had the Baby Yoda thing in the background, but it didn't build to anything.
So what we need to kind of come full circle with this is we've touched on it. They didn't really do a lot with it. The plots and the vehicles were a bit higgledy-piggledy. There's pacing issues throughout the season. So what we've done is we've picked apart all the things wrong with it.
Exactly.
Now we need to establish what we want from season 2, boys.
What about you, Sean? I feel like you were quite big. Were you quite a big fan of it?
Well, he likes Eva Firefly. Fuck me. He's the king of the fandom right now.
Love it. So,
I did like it. Like, I agreed though that it started well, dipped a bit in the middle, and then finished really well. But I think Scott makes a good point about like who they're trying to serve, because there will be people who only know Star Wars as the films, and then there'll be other people coming to it who have watched the Clone Wars and Rebels, which I haven't seen any of those, so I have no idea if they feed into it at all, and like the expanded universe, because right at the end, when Moff Gideon is cutting himself out of the TIE fighter, I think I sent a message to you and said like, oh, that was a funny looking lightsaber, and straight away you said it was the dark saber.
Yeah, which is a big piece of Mandalorian lore.
Which is a big, which I had no idea is now like a big piece of Mandalorian lore. Like apparently it was created by the first Jedi, or the first Mandalorian to become a Jedi. So I imagine like you're going to find out more about that in season 2.
Yeah, exactly. So when I watched that originally, I had no idea what that was. It was just literally Googling.
so James didn't know deeper lore. He knows how to use that Google search engine.
Gotta love a bit of Googling.
Oh,
because it was quite a big deal. Like when you were looking at the articles, everyone's like, he's got the dark saber is in the finale, and it's, for me as someone who doesn't know anything about it, it meant nothing to me.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was a massive moment, as long as you knew what he was wielding.
Yeah, and I'm going to suggest that most people don't.
Well, I'm gonna take this a step further, and I say I completely missed him doing that altogether. So,
what was you doing?
Yeah,
I mean,
how can you miss a lightsaber?
He stands on top of it.
It was a dark saber, fucking apparently. So maybe that's why.
Doesn't he like stand on top of the TIE fighter with the dark saber in his hand?
He made this big song and dance of the whole scene.
Yeah, that's like a very superhero fantasy kind of thing, isn't it? Like you've had your moment, and now you've got to stand and bask in it.
I think I remember the Mandalorian very differently to how you guys remember it, because I just remember feeling disappointed.
Did you even watch the same program?
Well, yeah, I mean Malcolm Reynolds. There was Serenity.
Yeah, they don't have anyone as good as Kaylee.
Oh yeah, Sean's a massive fanboy of Kaylee. He sends me a message like, I assume Kaylee's the favourite. And I was like
I'm just struggling to remember Kaylee.
She was the mechanic.
Oh, is she the one with the umbrella?
But it's so obscure. It's Malcolm Reynolds. He's the captain of Serenity.
He's the man.
He's the man. Yeah, he's the man. Okay, who would win? The Mandalorian or Malcolm Reynolds?
The Mandalorian.
Oh, Mandalorian easily.
I don't know.
He'd struggle a bit and then blast him with his like flamethrower.
Yeah, exactly. Because Mal's just got like a pistol, like it would just bounce off his helmet.
Yeah, but he's a sneaky guy. He'd probably sneak behind him.
Yeah, it depends. If it's like a one-on-one cage match, like the Mandalorian's going to win. But if he's got time to prepare, I reckon Mal's going to have
it. Mal's going to have him.
He's going to have him. He'll do something sneaky. He'll get someone else to kill him.
He'll like set a trap, and Mando will just be like,
He'll set Jane on him.
Trap. I don't understand this plot. Trap.
So, if you enjoyed it more than certainly me and Ryan did, anyway, Sean, like, what do you want to come on the next season?
Well, I think, like you said, like the main thing is to find out more about Baby Yoda. So obviously he's got the mission now to go and try and find out where he came from, to reunite him with his own species. So hopefully we'll find out more about that.
I think there's a lot of people that want that to happen, because there's so little known about Yoda species. There's almost like no official lore whatsoever.
It's really fascinating, isn't it? Because every single piece of like Star Wars has been put into some sort of comic or extra little story, or like there's always been something. Like all the people in the bar on Tatooine, Mos Eisley even. they're like every single person in there has their own comic and backstory, but for some reason we know nothing about like the Yoda species.
I know. I remember reading about this. I think George Lucas said that he deliberately tried to make the character as enigmatic as possible to kind of drive through, like in the early days, anyway, kind of to drive through him being, the like not like Master of the Jedi, but like just that one of those core foundation level characters. And obviously Yoda is hundreds of years old. So he wanted the species to kind of remain as blank slate as possible for, I think, the fans to kind of connect dots and do the whole digging into other laws, try and connect the pieces, just to create that, that enigma spectrum around it.
Yeah, 'cause in the entire sort of 9 movies, you only ever see 2 of them. You see Yoda and I believe Yaddle on the council.
Yeah.
But interesting that Yaddle is also like the only 2 you have are Force users, and then Baby Yoda is obviously a Force user. So there's got to be some link to the Force with that species.
Yeah, hopefully they find some people who know what the Force is. That would be good.
Yes. Oh yeah, we were talking about this, weren't we? It's kind of nuts that no one seems to understand what the Force is, because like
it's only 5 years since like Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, what's the shock trooper called?
Cara Dune.
Cara Dune. So yeah, Sean was pointing out the other day, like she fought in the rebellion, so she must have known of Luke Skywalker and the fact that he was like a Jedi.
Well, even the fact that we know that there's this dark saber, which is apparently some kind of amazing piece of Mandalorian lore, like a big achievement, that there was obviously a Mandalorian Jedi. That makes me think
didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
Yeah, there seems to be some sort of like mind control thing going through the universe, like it's just like some voice in everyone's ear when they go to sleep. Forget about the Force.
Even if you watch the main films, Han Solo has to tell Finn and Rey that everything they've heard, like the rumors, are true. I think the universe is such a big place that a lot of stuff is passed off as legend, especially after the Jedi fell.
It does make sense, because like if something happened on the other side of if something happened in like China and there was like this rumor of someone who was magic and maybe they actually were magic, if you heard about it, you just say, oh, it's not real. So that's the other side of the country, like the other side of the world. Even imagine if like it was your like systems apart.
Unless is there any on record stuff about it deliberately trying to separate itself from the movies, or is it supposed to exist like in the same timeline?
Well, I think it exists definitely in the same timeline.
Yeah, it definitely does, because
yeah, so there's 3 new characters that have been announced for season 2. Do you know about these?
I know about one.
Lay it on me.
Ahsoka, supposedly.
So is it Malcolm, Kaylee?
Yes. Yeah, so Ahsoka Tano, is that how you say it? Who is Anakin's
I believe so.
Padawan,
Anakin's apprentice,
who was introduced in the Clone Wars movie. She's going to be in it. So I haven't seen the Clone Wars animated series.
She's confirmed in it, but the actress isn't yet confirmed.
Rosario Dawson, I think, is confirmed.
She's rumoured. Has that been confirmed now?
I thought it had. Yeah, so she's a Jedi, so she's obviously survived Order 66, and
so is she going to bring the law and the Force with her? Is she?
Maybe she is.
So do you know what this sounds like? Another story vehicle character?
Yeah. Well, also, Boba Fett's going to be in it. Do we know about this?
Yes, Boba Fett is coming, and his actor has been confirmed.
Yeah, Jango Fett.
Yeah. No.
So is it confirmed that it's definitely going to be Boba Fett? Because we had this discussion. It is.
But yeah, I'm fairly confident that confirmed Boba Fett is coming.
Because I know it's the actors confirmed. I was hoping that they might do an clone trooper. Because obviously they all look like Jango Fett.
No, I think he's definitely Boba.
Definitely Boba.
Boba. But it sounds like it's quite a small part, so it might just be like a cameo or one episode.
Or even like a flashback.
I think there's a possibility there's a flashback.
If the flashback is just of him dying, I'll fucking die. It'll be so good.
Well, probably, I know in Return of the Jedi, you see Boba Fett fall into the Sarlacc pit, but if anybody's read the books, Boba Fett is, I believe, the first person to actually escape from the Sarlacc pit. So he didn't die in Return of the Jedi, but whether
So he's
they've
alive in
kept-
like the canon.
Yeah. Well, whether it's official canon or the Disney's taken over is a different story. But it was that he survived the Sarlacc pit.
Well, if he survives, then yeah, it could very well be that the same timeline, you know, 100% confirmed, and you know, it carrying on in that fashion.
And then,
Because I think it was the episode where they were in Tatooine ended with the assassin got shot and probably killed, and then there was like a mysterious pair of boots that kind of
So you
came up
reckon
to
that
that
was
body.
Boba?
Yeah, some people think that was Boba Fett,
see, I thought when we saw that might be a reveal they brought in.
but
So-
then nothing happened with that at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it does seem like there's a lot of threads. Like maybe this series should have just kept going,
A couple more
Maybe, yeah.
episodes could have painted a bigger picture.
and that's probably
And then-
that's probably a problem with them only doing like 20 to 30-minute episodes. Like there's not a lot of time to expand.
I suppose as well, Disney have the advantage here in that, you know, typically when, you know, there are these hit seasons and series and things like that, you get a hell of a lot more information when it goes to like Blu-ray, and then you can hear the director's commentary and all the snippets and all these bits and bobs. But because it's literally delivered solely through that Disney streaming platform, you don't get any of that insight. So Disney is the entire is in control from, you know, start to finish with the narrative.
Who was the
Oh
third
yeah, one
by the
more.
way?
So any of you guys seen Battlestar Galactica?
Oh yeah, of course.
No.
Yeah, so Katie Sackhoff is coming.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Oh, I saw that. I was like, yes.
Yes, as someone called Bo-Katan, who is someone she voices in the Clone Wars animated series apparently, but I don't know.
Yeah, I was reading about this week.
I don't know much about her.
I wonder if she's gonna then, if she comes back into it, I wonder if she's gonna start appearing in all of the like the nerd stuff that she did after Battlestar. 'Cause she was in everything, even in the Big Bang.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
So what are we wrapping this segment up with?
I think the conclusion is like everyone. I think we're all quite positive about the next season. I'm pretty sure we're all going to watch it, but there's definitely some room for improvement, particularly with just progressing both with the characters and the plot. Like there's a lot of stuff they can do with it. They just didn't seem to do that much in season 1.
Improve the
season
pacing
2
a little bit as well.
Through the pacing, the character development, and just basically almost everything in general. let's be honest.
Basically, just kick it up a gear. You know,
Yeah.
you've
Just
got
do
Just
better.
give us more Mandalorian.
So guys, we're moving on to our final piece. Have you heard that Tenet might be delayed and it could have a huge impact for the rest of the movie industry?
right. So, a lot of movies at the moment are obviously being pushed back. Like we've seen, what was it? Mulan's being pushed back. James Bond was one of the early ones to be pushed back.
Black Widow.
What was that? Sorry,
Black Widow.
Black Widow,
Black Widow. Yeah.
Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious. So many are being pushed back. One that sort of hasn't made a decision yet was Tenet, which is the big Christopher Nolan film that has been scheduled to come out in it's July, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's July. So there's a lot of talk at the moment about the idea of if they do move it, we may not actually get any new films this side of 2020, because by July the thinking is that lockdown is still going to be sort of in place, but the social distancing is going to allow people to go to the cinema. I think the idea is you can like sit a few seats apart or something. I'm not entirely sure of it, but the idea is basically cinemas are going to be open. So if Tenet, even with cinemas open, if Tenet is pushed back, it is basically saying that this massive movie isn't going to be successful. And then all the studios are going to take this as an example and be like, if they don't think they can make money, we definitely can't make money. So until the coronavirus thing is completely over, we're not going to see any brand new films in the cinema, which is obviously shit.
So that's what shit this week, James.
That is exactly what shit this week, because like it's not even that, like obviously we want to see Tenet. Like the concept behind the film sounds really, really interesting. It's because it's a crime drama that's set through time, isn't it? It's like a time traveling crime drama. So the whole concept sounds great, but if they move it back, that's fine. Like, this has to happen, but it's that idea of if everything's going to be gone. Like, can you imagine, like, if we're not going to get, like, the last film? What's the last, like, new film that came out of the cinema before lockdown started? It was like that fucking one with Vin Diesel.
Yeah, it's the last film I saw at the cinema.
Was it
Bloodshot.
Bloodshot? Yeah, I saw
Bloodshot.
that as well.
I'm sure you loved it.
It's terrible.
Oh, okay. That's a shock.
That's your official review?
It actually popped up on Apple Movies. I looked at it yesterday, and so it's only just kind of come onto the platform, and it was already out for rental for $1.99.
That is tragic. And so that's the thing. If Tenet is pushed back, and everyone else goes with that trend because they're concerned about the finances of their films, we're not seeing anything new. We're not seeing anything come out here because a lot of movies aren't going direct to streaming either because of the fact that, like, studios will lose money from the streaming industry, because obviously they're not getting the seat sales in the same way. So we could be looking at no new films or big blockbuster films until next year now.
It's interesting that that the studios have the ability. Obviously, they have like ultimate control of distribution and release and things like that. But it's interesting that they have kind of that final say level of control, and it impacts the movie industry so much. When if you look at comparatively, the gaming industry is having a boom at the moment because everyone's at home, everyone's playing games. But there was a big title, The Last of Us Part 2, was actually like kind of like finished. It was on track to launch, I think in May, and then they decided, oh no, this is not the right time to release this because of everything that's going on. Completely fair, completely valid. People have been waiting for this game for like 7 years, but then loads of after they actually announced that, loads of leaks started coming out with the ending of the game, some early gameplay, so it was literally ruining it the longer they were delaying releasing it. So now they put the release back on track for it's coming out in June, so it's coming out next month. The gaming industry doesn't have that ultimate luxury that the movie industry does because of these leaks and things that are coming out.
So what do we get if the cinemas start to open, but there's no new films? Are they just going to start doing reruns?
Well, that would be good. But I think like one of the issues is
Blade Runner.
If cinemas do open, will people want to go?
Yeah.
And then can you socially distance in a cinema? Because you can sell alternate rows or whatever. But you're still going to get like a situation, say like we're sitting on the aisle, say, and there's some people in the middle, and then they want to go for a piss during the film, and they have to like squeeze past you.
Yeah.
It does. After every screen, and then each screen itself is going to have a deep clean. Every seat is going to have to be wiped down. So there'll be a longer gap, so they won't have as many showings through the day as they normally would.
So I think it's View, isn't it? In the UK, View have said that they're going to look at opening, given the relaxation in the rules.
And then do they also then end up charging more money for tickets because they can't fill the seats, so they have to charge money?
But that's the other thing, like how often is the cinema screen actually full? Like obviously the one we go to is 8. It's got 8 screens, and it's barely ever half full, I would say.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the film.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like apart from like the opening night of Avengers or Star Wars or something.
Yeah,
but generally,
I went to the midnight screen of Avengers Endgame, and my local View has 12 screens, and every single seat was sold out.
Wow.
We went to Endgame at like 8 in the morning, and there was barely anyone there.
I think we waited 2 weeks because it was just like packed every single night, and then when we finally went to see it, it was I think it was about half full.
Super fan right here.
Super fan. The other point though is
I went on the midnight release while my wife and kids were on holidays at the time. They were visiting her sister in America, and I went on midnight release because I didn't want to risk any spoilers. And then my son came home 2 days later, and I took him again, and it was almost as full.
Really?
Genuinely.
Well, you do hear people, like, there are some crazy people. I remember reading something about someone who went and saw, I think it was Captain Marvel. They literally went and saw it like every single day that it was out. They had like 300 tickets that they had proof that they kept going again and again and again.
Wow.
You can't keep people away from these Marvel films, except with coronavirus.
Yeah,
I've seen every single Marvel film in cinema except one. I never got to see Doctor Strange.
Did you
Oh,
know
I
that?
saw that in 3D. That was so good in 3D.
Yeah, I saw it in 3D as well. You kind of had to, didn't you?
You asked me, didn't you? I said, if you're going to watch it in 3D.
Got to go 3D IMAX. It's
3
supposed to just trippy.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was one of those films that really complimented seeing it in 3D in the cinema.
Literally one of the only ones.
So I think bringing it back to the question is, so if this does get pushed and then everything else is pushed, what if the cinemas are looking to open? Yeah, they're not going to have anything to show. Yes, they could show reruns, but then the very good point of cinemas are naturally packed places, especially like when you're trying to get tickets and stuff, with all the restrictions about 2 meters and all this kind of things going all over the place. Do you really think people would risk that say their health for number one, then number two, a potential increase in ticket prices if it does happen, number three, not even seeing new films? Like, it just seems like it's bound to fail.
Exactly. So you're going out of the house to a place where you risk getting the virus to see a movie that you can watch in your home. You're then probably paying, like, because they do classic movie nights in the cinemas near here, like what they used to, and it were always cheaper tickets because it's a movie that you can get at home. So you're not going to pay more for it, are you?
I suppose you've got to kind of look at it geographically as well, because as much as we say we may not go to the cinema because we don't want to risk our health, you've only got to look at the current affairs in America to see all the people protesting about their freedoms being taken away, and would their marketplace
they were protesting in London yesterday.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, but that's the other thing though. It's like, do you have to wait for a global calendar? Because normally movies like are released in America and here in the same, if not the same day, the same week or so, aren't they? So if America is ready to open cinemas and we're not, do they get Black Widow and we just have to wait?
I don't think Disney would risk that now. I think they want the full, because
that's what I mean. So like, if you have to, like, the Asian market, I think is like massive for like Fast and Furious and stuff, which is why straight away they delayed that till next summer. They didn't bother waiting until August or whatever. They said straight away, we'll wait till 2021.
Yeah.
They would face the backlash of, say, like releasing it in, say, America, and then all the leaks and stuff coming out. Like, people would just get it spoiled, and then they would lose revenue from that.
Which means the wait could potentially be even longer.
It's really interesting as well, because with no films being filmed during this period, and then if we get pushed back even further for movies, we're basically going to have this backlog of, like, we're going to have films that have basically been filmed already that come out, and then there's going to be a period where there's no new films that haven't been made because they've got to then develop them all.
Yeah, so apparently you can start filming again in London now.
Will people do it though?
I don't know. Socially distanced filming.
Yeah, you can.
One of the films that was filming and got shut down was the Batman.
Oh really?
Yeah, and which was filming in London. So apparently that can start up again if they want to.
Is that why Robert Pattinson is trapped in that like apartment in London? Because of
like Matt Damon is stranded in Ireland apparently because he was filming something. He's been there for months.
That's funny.
It's like, even if you can film it, why would you bother if you can't release it for another year and a half? If, like, as well as like the slate of releases is just going to be so packed next year, because all the films that would have come out this year, I think, are going to be pushed into like those months, because studios hate releasing big films side by side, don't they? Because you damage your profits.
But it still happens that you still get big ones next to one another, and then they compete and they fight. But
at a slower rate. So then, if there's loads already, if you've got a completely packed schedule for next year, then no one's going to want to make a movie and then try and release it next year because it's not going to go anywhere.
You know, the more that we've spoken about this, I think that literally the sensibler it seems for them to just release everything at a later date, because there's so many health risks, there's so many issues with releasing in one place and not in another. And then there's losing the revenue altogether. Well, not altogether, but losing a good chunk of cinema revenue from tickets if you just released onto digital, which is, I don't know if you have actually looked at any of those new ones that went to like streaming platforms. I think it was like £16. So it was the price of an adult ticket, but your whole family could watch it. So if say there's 5 of you, they're losing out on like 5 times that if the family had gone to the cinema. So the loss is there either way. Either way, they're looking to do it if they released it. So we've literally just answered our own concern: is that no one should release anything until this is all over.
Yeah, which is a real shame, and that's why this segment is called "What Shit This Week."
Yeah, as shit as this sounds and as shit as this is the shit that we're in. So that's been the podcast, guys. That's been our first episode of many, many to come. James is going to be writing a 1,000-word piece to go with this. So if you just want to get cliff notes, just look at the summary section at the top and ignore the rest of what he's written.
That'll be coming out in 2 weeks' time.
Stay alert, stay safe, and Firefly is better than the Mandalorian.